Pretty normalized stuff. This is a Shardless Bug deck. It's definitely a different take on the deck, though. You know, you've got 2 Toxic Deluge main deck, 2 Jaces. We do see those numbers vary from time to time. There are 4 Abrupt Decays, 4 Ancestral Visions, of course, 4 Deathrights, 4 Shardless, a Tombstalker, 4 Tarmogoyfs. We normally see Baleful Strix or Hymn Thorax, but we're not going to find those here for the most part, outside of the Strix in the sideboard.
And Levy's sideboard has a lot of different stuff going on here, too. 3 copies of Rest in Peace, that's normally a 2 of. 2 copies of Pithing Needle, that's more commonly a 1 or 0 of. So a lot of different sideboard going on here. It looks like he's gotten away from the creatures all together in this sideboard. No copies of Grim Lavamancer, no copies of Meddling Mage.
Well, there's a Needle. You have to imagine that's going to be naming Deathrite Shaman, and that's exactly what it will lock down. So say goodbye to that.
And Levy's list here is playing some basic lands. You see an island here, also has a Plains to go fetch. So different build of this list.
Could see a Delver Mirror. As wild as this top 8 has been, we've seen some pretty obscure and strange decks. You did say that cream does rise.
That's how this goes.
Yeah.
No one should be upset about it. You know, this is just the way the world works.
Now, to be fair, Shardless Bug did win last weekend in Portland, the Hannah James win. So it is certainly capable of still winning tournaments. This is a different build.
Well, having Shardless Agent and no copies of Baleful Strix is way outside the box. The free stuff deck, you know?
Delver Secrets here from Teitz. Well, we will sacrifice a Polluted Delta. See what land Josh wants to go grab. Cicio, pretty good friends with James Riekowitz and some of those other guys. I believe he's got a pretty nice legacy pedigree. Walking by Riekowitz during our break, just asking, who do you think's going to win the tournament, Dan Jordan or Josh? I said, I don't know, man. Maybe Charlie. There's an Abrupt Decay to get this Deathrite Shaman back online.
I think that if it's a normal Magic player instead of Dan Jordan playing that quarterfinal match, he's playing against Eric Smith, and things are quite a bit different.
Yeah, matchup is certainly different, that's for sure. Ancestral Vision, the draw. Deathrite Shaman. Looks like it's going to cast a Shardless Agent. Time to Cascade. Here we go. Going by a whole bunch of stuff. Thoughtseize is the weapon of choice. Knight of Soul's Betrayal on the bottom, or at least going to be shuffled. However, because there are so many fetch lands in this deck, you have to imagine that, you know, it'll just get shuffled back in the deck.
Doesn't matter a ton.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get too hung up on it.
Nope.
Levy's hand's pretty soft, though. A lot of lands. And you can see here, it looks like he was trying to brainstorm with the hope of, you know, putting some lands back, shuffling, and so forth. But the Thoughtseize is forcing his hand. So Levy is at risk of having a bad brainstorm here and having some dead draws.
Volcanic Eye is the weapon of choice here. We'll see if we see a Bolt, maybe a Spell Pierce, who knows what. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Brainstorm hide things. That's what we will see. Of course, Shardless Bug is not a deck you have to worry about days from.
Yes. Shardless Agent means Spell Pierce, Daze, cards of that ilk, you're not going to see. And it makes sense for Josh to want to sideboard Meddling Mage because a lot of the normal disruptive tools that blue decks get are off the table for him because of Shardless Agent. Meddling Mage, though, that's a nice thing to cascade into.
That's a nice Thoughtseize. Enjoy.
Well, on one hand, I'm sure Josh is not thrilled to have missed. On the other hand, I'm sure he's thrilled to have missed.
Yeah. So you have 2 spells on top of your deck. They had better be good.
Yeah.
Now, there are 2 Wastelands there, and here's a red Elemental Blast, so that's pretty good. Delver's going to flip into Insectile Aberration. Levy can start actually going after Josh's lands now with those Wastelands, all playing a little bit of a tempo game, so that's exactly what's going to happen.
Tough to play that sort of game against someone with an active Deathrite Shaman.
This is true. Also, knowing that he has nothing to fear outside of a red blast. Start by attacking for 2. Deathrite going to go active. There's an Abrupt Decay. Get that weak stuff out of here. Oh, it doesn't look like Josh has another land to play. Levi kept the land on top of his deck. It was a Tundra, so it was not the best brainstorm, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's a Wasteland. Get this land out of here. Cicio will draw a card. In for 2 comes the Charlotte's Agent. Deathright's going to generate some mana. Going to suspend Ancestral Visions. 4 counters to begin, and that will wind down.
But we know that, for the time being at least, Levi has that covered.
Mm-hmm. The question, of course, is what do you want to do with the Red Blast?
Tag that Ancestral Visions.
Yeah, I mean, he could obviously tag the Charlotte's Agent if he's tired of taking damage. I don't know if that's the best use of the card.
I think he's got to hope that Josh stays stuck on lands for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Josh is going to remove a land and cast a Brainstorm here. This might be worth countering too. That Red Elemental Blast is being taxed now. Spell Pierce is good.
I like using the Spell Pierce here because Josh may draw lands and be able to pay for the Ancestral down the line, but that Red Blast is definitely safe.
No, yeah, I absolutely love the use. Here's a Ponder. 1, 2, and 3. Bolt, Delver, and a Flooded Strand. Those aren't bad.
Yeah, he can try to take the Delver here and then keep Bolt on top, hope that Josh misses a land drop, Bolt the Deathrite Shaman, and get some real tempo going in this game. It looks like he's set up to do exactly that.
Down to 2 goes the Visions. Looks like a Marsh Flats was the draw.
That's a huge draw.
Yep.
If Josh missed a land drop this turn, things start getting really ugly for him. Although, as it stands, if he has nothing to add to his board this turn, you know, he has Jason the Mind Sculptor in his hand, another Charlotte's Agent. I'm not sure he has anything castable.
Yeah, the only thing you can do now is, you know, sacrifice the Marsh Flats, find a land that produces black mana or green mana, whatever, and start going to work with Deathrite Shaman. Cicio going to sacrifice the Marsh Flats after the Delver does flip before Levi does draw. The Lightning Bolt going to go to Bayou. We believe. Wants to make sure that's what he wants to get. Nope. We'll choose a little bit differently. Maybe an Underground Sea. Tropical Island is the weapon of choice.
Well, you can't fetch for that with a Marsh Flats.
That's true, so we won't let that happen. Try. Third term's the charm. There we go. Nope.
Nope.
There
And
it
yeah.
is. Yes.
All right.
Yes. We have done it. Who says fetching is easy? It's not.
Well, there's very few decks in Legacy that can't get the dual land they want at any time with any of their fetch lands.
No.
Because Josh has entered a 4th color to the equation. Now that can come up.
Here comes Santa Claus. Cicio going to go down to 9. All of a sudden, it's a race.
And
I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if this Red Black goes after Charlotte's Agent now. Just because I feel like the race right now is in Levi's favor.
I still think that you got to fight over the Ancestral. You know, Josh showed that he had nothing to do last turn with the mana.
Okay.
So letting him draw out, I think, is really risky. Because he either finds lands or finds something cheap to do. And you can take 4 hits here, you know? What does that matter?
That's
You're
true.
winning the race.
Down to 6. Down to 5. Doesn't change the clock at all.
Yeah, Levi knows that there's a land on top, so he's going to shuffle.
Get a Tundra.
Yeah, I'm red blasting this Ancestral. Josh has, you know, when he finally did draw a land, all he could muster was a Deathrite Shaman activation. I don't think he's got a lot going on in that hand. If he finds something like land plus Abrupt Decay, it probably will not matter that you got that Charlotte's Agent off the table.
Teitz will draw a card. Another land. Can that Delver hang on? There's Tundra. In we go. Cicio's going to go down to 6. Ancestral, yeah, not a chance.
Yeah, like it.
Take a draw. Looked like it was a basic forest, I believe. In for 2. Teitz goes down to 3. That's an allow him to cast a Sylvan Library. That one certainly matters. Teitz going to untap the Delver, draw a card. It's not a Lightning Bolt, it's another land. There's a Plains.
Got to hold on for one more turn.
You got to keep coming.
Yep.
Can't stop now.
Can't stop
Yeah,
now.
it's 3-3. Sylvan Library.
Looking
2
for
and
Abrupt
3.
Decay.
Yep. There's a Thoughtseize. There's a Force of Will.
I don't know if there's any help there. Josh is looking.
I mean, the big one actually is a land. Like, a fetch land, I think, would be the best thing you can find outside of the obvious Abrupt Decay. Because if he finds a fetch land, he can actually clear the top of the cards off the top of the deck and pass a Charlotte Sage and hope for the best. But I don't think any of those are a land. He's giving a long look, and he's going to extend the hand.
Wow.
Maybe Teitz is going to win this match over Josh Cicio 2-0 in blue-white-red Delver in a matchup I thought it was not going to be favored and is moving on, and we are going to have the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, Levi just held on.
Yeah.
And if Josh has any 2-mana spell there that isn't the Sylvan Library, Tarmogoyf's enough to win that game. Certainly Abrupt Decay is.
Yep.
So the Sylvan Library still gives him a lot of looks at it, but just could not find an answer to that pesky Insectile Aberration, and now the mirror waits.
We'll bring it back to the booth here.